welcome to Turtle Tracks Podcast. This is your host, Brian VanHooker, and I am here at Granite Con 2024 in a rowdier room than I would have expected to interview Mateus Santolouco, one of the formative artists of IDW's Turtleverse. Mateus, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Glad to be here.
You know, this is going to be a shorter episode, but I just really wanted to talk to you about a handful of things. You've done so much amazing work for IDW, and I guess my big question is, when you came on to the IDW book and introduced these amazing turtle designs, you know, before you'd been there, hundreds of people had drawn the turtles. So I'm always curious, like, how did you find your turtles? What went into each one to make them who they are?
Well, actually, I did like a fan art back in, I think it was like 2005 or something like that. And I did it for fun. And that was the first time that I started to imagine them like with different like body structures, like being different from each other and not like the same as they used to be back in the days, the classic ones. So that was the first take I did, and I don't remember. I don't remember why I did that or
Sure.
how it came to me, but it was just a fan art. But that was the first take I did that. So when the opportunity to work with IDW came up, I thought to myself, well, I have to try to push that up, you know, to make them different from each other. But from that original design, I think the only one that I used in this new version was Michelangelo, you know, with the round eyes, a little bit more like childlike than the other ones. And then the rest of it, I did a lot of sketches until I find my own versions. But yeah, I mean, I remember the first samples I sent to Bobby Colonel, the editor. They were way different than the stuff that I put on the books afterwards. Yeah.
And your designs have even changed over the years a little bit. Like, you know, we've been seeing your turtles for 10 years. Even they've evolved a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think I got better as an artist as well.
Yeah, sure.
But also, I was always paying attention to what people were saying. So for example, I did the masks different. In the first Secret History was the first one that I actually got to draw the turtles, and I think I went a little bit over the top on that book, in my opinion. And I read some critics like from fans say, yeah, well, this is kind of too much. And I say, hey, you know what? I think I agree.
For Secret History, too much?
Yeah, the masks. I mean,
okay.
Because the masks they were different, but I think I went a little bit over the top there in Secret History. So after that, I started to like, I kept them different, but not that much, but not like.
Sure.
So, yeah.
What went into your Donatello? Like, what was your thinking about how Donatello was designed? He's a little leaner.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe I was a bit inspired by the 2012 Nickelodeon show. Yeah. Maybe it was that, but I think I mean I was also like thinking that maybe if he's the smarter, maybe he's the most evolved.
Oh, interesting.
From mutation, you know, and so I'll make it taller and more human-like, maybe than the other ones. Yeah, I think that's what it was on my mind back then. But definitely I was inspired by the Nickelodeon show as well.
That show's great. That show's really good. What about Leo and Raph? What went into them?
Raph for me was always like Wolverine of the Turtles. So I wanted to do like him really smaller than the other guys, shorter and more stacky, more.
Yeah.
And for me, Leonardo is kind of just Zen character, you know. So make him serious and you know. Sure. Yeah.
I feel like I've heard because the Nickelodeon show and a couple others have had like done it since, where it's like there's slight variations, and they're like I feel like for all of them, I think for more than one, they said like they start with Leo, who's kind of perfect, and then everybody kind of extrapolates off that like. This one's tougher, this one's smart, skinnier, this one's like a little kid. So like it's interesting to see how like Leo is always the center.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Actually, I agree with that. I think that if I'm going to compare to the other versions of the Turtles, probably Leonardo is the most standard one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The what's it like now? Putting those designs into toy form with loyal subjects, because that's super cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. Man.
Yeah. What's your part in that? Like, what do you?
I did some consulting on the figures.
Sure.
And I did packaging art
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're looking great.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That is surreal. I mean, just working with the turtles is surreal. It's just a surreal experience by itself.
Yeah.
But when they called me to talk about the toys, I was just like, oh, okay.
I mean, your turtles are just so. I mean, there's been a lot of great artists. There's Sophie. There's Dan Duncan. Lots of amazing people. But like your turtles have become so emblematic with the whole IDW turtle verse. So like it's. I was delighted when I saw that they were directly making your turtles, which is super cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You also designed Bebop and Rocksteady for this world, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've designed a lot of characters for this world, but I'm so curious about how you found Bebop and Rocksteady, the mutton chops, all that. They're my favorite characters. I love them. So how did you design that? What was going into that? Those two.
I think that first thing I was trying to make them look a little bit more like the actual animals, you know.
Sure.
And less cartoony. That was my goal at first. And I wanted for them to be like menacing, you know, menacing looking.
Sure.
Like real monsters. And yeah, I think I found the right spot.
Oh yeah.
But I had to like if you look up my original design for Bebop,
okay.
He was a lot fatter.
Oh, I don't know that one.
And bigger, and he was a lot more looking like the one in the second Michael Bay movie.
Sure.
He was a lot more like that on my first original design. But then the guy, Bobby, the editor, he said, well, let's have one of them fat and the other one makes him slim.
It's weird. It's always one's fat and one's muscular. And it switches a lot. Yeah. Like in the original cartoon, Rocksteady's fat, Bebop is slim. And the movie, Rocksteady's pretty slim, and Bebop is fat. So like it's always one and one. It's interesting.
Yeah, so I have to trim Bebop a little bit.
he's a slim warthog. I would love to talk a little bit about Secret History of the Foot Clan. Like, now that story started with you, correct?
Yeah.
Tell me where it came from, where the idea came from, all that. I love that stuff.
Yeah, okay. I was doing part of the issue 5. I shared that issue with Dan Duncan. He did the part in New York, and I was doing the feudal Japan stuff.
Sure.
Where we tell for the first time that the Splinter and the Turtles were actual people from Japan who reincarnated into the Turtles and that. And I was working on that art, and that's when Bobby invited me. And I mean, even before that, my first contact with Bobby and IDW was way before they had any plans for the book. So it was just like looking around, see who was interested in working with the Turtles.
Sure.
And I actually sent a pitch for the book.
Oh, to work on number one?
On number one.
Wow, okay.
And with scripts and all.
Sure.
So Bobby really liked it, but I was like, at the same time, Tom and Kevin were doing their pitch as well. So, of course, it's only fair that Kevin got the job and not me. I was nobody back then, so it just makes sense. And so Bobby really liked the script I sent. So when I was working on issue 5, he invited me to write and draw Secret History. And that the only thing that IDW briefed me was a Secret History of the Foot Clan. Tell about their origins.
Oh, but no guidelines.
No guidelines. Your call.
Wow.
I say, all right. It has to be about reincarnation, right? That's
sure.
that's the story I was trying to find. And it was a little difficult at first, like to find the right spot, because I really wanted the Turtles to be involved. If I was just going to tell the story of Secret History from the Foot Clan, back on Feudal Japan, there were no turtles.
Yeah.
You know, so all the plot with a historian that he's studying, that he found the book of the Foot Clan and all that was a little bit tricky to find, but once I figured that out,
sure,
then everything just flow. But then my English is not that good still, but back then it was worse.
Okay, sure.
So I was talking to Bobby and saying, look, I can create a story for sure, but I'm not really confident about writing dialogues right now. So maybe we should call someone to help with that.
Sure.
So we called Eric, and he joined the team.
Yeah, Eric Burnham, great writer.
Yeah, he's great. So, and the way we did, I did like a whole storyline, like from beginning to the end, like, but not too much detail. And I separated in issues and sent it to Eric, and Eric would script it the whole thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it was a good dynamic. And
I was impressed by that book because it was like, I mean, okay, the Turtles are in it, but they're not even in it that much. Like, it was such a compelling thing to see. Like, one of the best Turtle stories, maybe one of the best Turtle stories ever, and it barely had the Turtles in it. And it was like, people still say that's their favorite mini series that they've done. ADW's done a lot of them. That's still like top of everybody's list. That we love that series. It's so good. So
yeah, I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Yeah, no. And you got to recently revisit that with Untold Destiny. How was that?
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, that was all Eric. No.
Okay.
Yeah, but since we did Secret History, he called me. Hey, let's team up again. I said, sure, let's do it. And it's a different vibe. I mean, it's sort of connected by the title, and
Sure.
but now we're more focusing on Karai. It's a completely different deal. But funny thing, I tried to push to I was saying when they were writing like the first outline of the story, say, hey man, I think we need some turtles in this book. Let's get the turtles involved. And well, we managed to do that on issue 4. I don't want to spoil anything for it. Hasn't read it yet, but
they should be caught up by now.
Yeah, well, we managed to put the turtles there, but I pushed for that.
Sure.
Otherwise, there will be no turtles on that book. Yeah.
I would love to talk to you about the stuff that's upcoming. So, in addition to the ongoing book that Jason Aaron's working on, the IDW verse is branched out in a couple other ways too. So, there's the Night Watcher book with Pharaoh Pay, and yours that you're working on is Mutant Nation. Tell me about Mutant Nation. What is Mutant Nation?
Well, Mutant Nation, the way I see it at least, is the book that will connect the former ongoing series to the new one, to the new run. So Tom's doing a great job, and Eric as well, like to try to fill in the gaps between that time jump from the last issue, 150, right?
Yeah, 150, and then to 150, sure.
And now 1. And we're trying to fill the gaps of what's happening between that time, between the two books, and also let Jason like run free with what he wants to do,
sure.
and not worry about the other characters.
Sure.
So yeah, and also for me, at least the first 4 issues, they are a follow-up from Untold Destiny of the Footprint. It's pretty much like a continuation, but now we're taking the focus out of Karai and putting it on Casey Jones.
I love the design for that Casey Jones.
Oh,
like that Foot Clan Casey is great.
Oh, thank you, man. I hope they stick with it, you know?
Sure, yeah. It's cool.
Yeah.
So the first story is focused on Raph and how he ended up in jail, which we don't know from the first issue just came out a few days ago. The first one, I'm not going to spoil too much, but we do see Raph as a bouncer. Did you have some fun designing that look for him?
No, I didn't work on Raph. I just worked on Casey Jones. Raph is...
Oh, you did back up. I'm so sorry. Goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I'm going to edit that out so it looks like I know what I'm talking about. You did the case... Right. I'm sorry. Jesus.
That's all right.
Oh, God. All right. So you did the backup story. Talking about Casey. Now, we just talked about this in the panel, but can you talk about the what went into that Casey design? Because I love that one.
Okay, yeah. First thing I wanted to do was to do a little homage to Eric, because he used to work on Ghostbusters, and so I just put the Ghostbuster jumpsuit on Casey with the Jones on the tag and all.
Sure.
And that was my first approach to it. But then Nickelodeon was not that very happy with that, so they said, what they said, I'm not that sure. We're not sure about this. Said,
which means no.
Yeah, and I said, look, he will look like that just for a couple panels. Otherwise, he'll be wearing a bulletproof vest over it. So I sent the version with the bulletproof vest, and they, all right, that's okay. But other than that, the mask, it's something that was in the back of my head. Probably from other versions of Casey Jones, but I always like it when it looks like a school somehow, the mask.
Sure.
So I did the actual school now. I think in the 2012 is a school as well, right?
In the 2012 show, he's the kid with the mask.
I really love this show, so I probably was inspired by that.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's had a few different ones. He had think in body count he had something else. He had like an American flag mask. So he's had a few different variations on it. The skull one looks great.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you can tease about what's coming up with Mutant Nation? I don't know how much you're allowed to talk about.
Look, is it at least our backup story is a fighting story. It's just fighting comics.
Sure.
It's action non-stop from page 1 to the last, but still, Eric does a great job, like doing character development in between those action moments.
Sure.
So it should be a fun read just for the action itself, but also if you enjoy Casey Jones and if you're interested in his journey.
Yeah.
Since Armageddon game and now with the new run,
It's very, I feel like IDW's Casey has like the most depth of any Casey.
Yeah.
Like he's really gone through a lot. Like it's interesting with April, without April. Like he's really
for
sure. A lot to get to that character.
Yeah. For me, Casey was always kind of flat. I mean, it was just like this bad attitude. And that was it. And on IDW, he has that.
Well,
for sure.
The original origin story for Casey was he was just a guy who watched too many action movies. That's literally, which is the greatest. Like he's just a nut. He's a nutcase. So he's evolved a lot in the IDW verse. So I was going to encourage everybody read Mutant Nation. But last question I have for you before I let you go is who's your favorite turtle and why?
It changed from time to time. Actually. Okay. If I'm playing video games, Donatello all the way.
Sure, naturally.
For sure. I really like the fun vibe of Michelangelo for sure.
Sure.
But I mean, it changes.
Yeah.
And especially drawing them. Like sometimes I feel more like comfortable drawing Leonardo. Sometimes I'm feeling more comfortable drawing Michelangelo. So it changes from time to time.
Cool.
The one that was never my favorite was Raphael. I don't know why. It's not that I don't like him, but he was never on top of my list.
It's so funny because I think if people were to pick out their favorite turtle that you do, it probably would be Raph.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you get the most commissions of?
Dark Leo and Raphael for sure.
Oh, sure. Oh, Dark Leo, of course. That makes sense. Yeah. But it feels like Raph. Like the first turtle that popped in my head. Because it's such a super bold design.
Yeah.
So, okay, Dark. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, I have one more question. So you also designed Dark Leo.
Yeah.
Please tell me what went into that, because that's one of the highlights of the IDW verse. Awesome design. Now it's a toy. So what went into Dark Leo? And then I'm done.
Thanks. Well, actually, I got the script from, it was City Fall, right?
Sure.
And there was no plan to change his looks. He was just like, he was going to go bad and that's it.
Really?
So then I made a proposal, a visual proposal for the character design. I said, hey, how about we tweak his look a little bit and make him look the black bandana and all that, and they were on board right away. So that's how it happens.
Was there any hesitation about the black bandana and Slash? Because it found its way to Slash later.
Yeah. I'm not sure if there was. They never told me. But I love that the black bandana from Dark Leo is Slash bandana.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that design is so great and like so unique to the IDW verse. And man, the Dark Leo, the whole Dark Leo story works so well. Yeah. Hard to believe that they wouldn't have changed his look for it.
Yeah.
So.
There were no plans. Yeah.
No shit.
It was cool working with Tom back then, and we talked about that already at some point. But it was fun because I was like with the Dark Leo design, and then it became Slash bandana. But other like small things, I was like leaving Easter eggs here and there in the pages, like drawing dragons on if there were like any old text or something like that appearing on the pages. I would draw dragons, and Tom was picking it up on that things I was doing, and he started building over that with scripts, and so we have a good dynamic. And I say, hey, it looked like we were writing together, but cool. I was reading your mind, and you were seeing where I was going, and you were putting stuff there. So that was a really good dynamic. And the Dark Leo thing is just an example of that.
Yeah, it's so great. Anyway, I'm all set. I'm gonna let you get back to everything you're doing. You're proud of commissions and stuff here at Granite Con, but thanks for being here, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Extreme out the sewer like laser beams. Get rocked with the shell shock pizza king. Can't stop these fuel, emerge from the shadows to make their move. The good guys win and the bad guys lose. Leonardo's a leader in blue, does anything it takes to get his ninjas through. Donatello is a fellow, has a way with machines. Raphael's got the most attitude on the team. Michelangelo, he's one of a kind, and he knows where to find it when it's party time. That's a splinter out of every